Good evening, I'm Peter Mansbridge, and this is The National.
Now that is very concerning. And
the Finance Committee grills Canada's top bankers in the wake of a CBC News investigation into questionable sales tactics. Legal trailblazer. Chief Justice Beverly McLaughlin announces her retirement from the Supreme Court. Plus, it's a red letter day for Canada's kids.
Hey, look at this.
A $7 billion framework for more spaces and more affordable childcare. And our Nick Purdon heads to the U.S. South to gauge the pleasure and the pain in the new America.
The president is changing everything now.
Canada's top banking executives were grilled in Ottawa today over allegations of questionable sales practices and pushing their own employees to upsell customers on financial products they don't need, even sink them into debt. Many of these questions were first raised by CBC's Go Public team. Their investigation unleashed a tidal wave of bank employees ready to blow the whistle. And today, their bosses were forced to respond. More now with Go Public's Erica Johnson, who first broke this story back in March.
Are the sales targets hurting consumers, sir?
Senior vice presidents of Canada's 6 biggest banks arrived to answer questions before the Standing Committee on Finance, presenting a united front.
When we first heard the media report that started this discussion, frankly, we were all at TD very surprised and very troubled.
We do take this matter very seriously.
For months, all 6 banks have been accused of turning customers into targets to jack up profits. More than 3,000 past and present bank employees have written Go Public, describing relentless pressure to sell or lose your job, admitting unethical, even illegal behaviors. Today, the bankers push back.
Our review has demonstrated there is not a systemic issue. What was reported in the media does not square with the organization that I, along with all of my colleagues at TD, know and respect.
Our people have no product-specific targets.
Several of the banks claimed that selling products is often just a result of meeting customer needs.
Some of our most engaged customers did receive our advice, and it's helped them, it's benefited their lives.
And Go Public is still hearing from bank employees, including one recently hired by TD. He says he was asked about our CBC stories during his job interview, told sales aren't important, but 4 weeks in.
Out of nowhere, it was here's the sales, here's your target. Basically, everything we told you is just a lie.
He says he quit a week ago.
The banks are forcing their employees to sell products Canadians don't need.
During question period, the NDP demanded the government better protect consumers.
Canadians expect the finance minister to stand up for all Canadians and not just those at the top.
With the hearings now wrapped, the Finance Committee's next step, a report to government that could recommend changes, including a call for an independent financial watchdog to better protect consumers. Erica Johnson, CBC News, Vancouver.
Many bank customers are angry, that's clear, but what can be done? Ottawa does have a few options. The government could ban the banks from imposing these kinds of sales targets in the first place. It could crack down on job titles that make relatively low-level employees sound like licensed financial advisors. Or they could do what the Small Investors Protection Association is pushing hard for, open a full public inquiry. Supreme Court Chief Justice Beverly McLaughlin is retiring. She announced today she will step down in December after 17 years in the position. McLaughlin is the longest-serving Chief Justice in Canada, the first woman elevated to the position. Of her years of service to the High Court, the Justice Minister said today McLaughlin has solidified her place in the country's legal history. Catherine Cullen has more.
So you've now become the longest-serving Chief Justice in the history of the country.
Apparently.
She may well be the most powerful woman in Canada.
I did not wake one morning at 6 years of age, as one commentator has suggested, with the firm resolution to become Chief Justice of Canada.
Yet even after nearly 2 decades as the presiding judge over the Supreme Court, most Canadians could pass Chief Justice Beverly McLaughlin on the street and not recognize her. Still, her impact is hard to underestimate. From rulings on how some of us die in the doctor-assisted death case to the limits on prostitution, free speech versus hate speech, same-sex marriage, and how Canada's government, notably in the case of Senate appointments, can function. The list goes on and on.
Incalculable. I mean, I just don't think there have been few judges, I think, that have had as much of a hand in as many areas of law and decisions as she had.
She's been with the court through times of major change, including adapting to and interpreting the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
She came to the court in 1989 when the Charter was still very much in its infancy and you were just starting to get the really big cases on abortion, on freedom of expression, on discrimination.
She says she and her colleagues have agonized over many decisions.
We are faced with some of the most difficult legal questions. The most difficult legal questions that a society, a constitutional democracy can throw up. We take it very seriously.
She has helped us as a country define and advance and develop the law and our Constitution.
A view endorsed by the Prime Minister who appointed her to the Supreme Court.
I think that she has played a strong leadership role in the evolution of Canada over the last 25 or 30 years.
But she did come into conflict with the last government after the Justice Minister implied she inappropriately called to intervene in a case.
Neither the Prime Minister or I would ever consider calling a judge where that matter is or could be before the court of competent jurisdiction.
In fact, the government's allegations didn't hold up. McLaughlin had done nothing wrong. McLaughlin will retire 6 months from now, but the speculation about who is going to replace her has already begun. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Ottawa.
The word universal is no longer anywhere to be found, but today the government explained its new national plan for childcare. Ottawa signed an agreement with all the provinces except Quebec, which has had its own public daycare system for decades. As Katie Simpson tells us, the aim from Ottawa now is flexibility and accessibility.
Like thousands of parents across the country, Sonia Gable says she lucked out finding flexible childcare for her daughter. It's a necessity since she has a significant commute and her husband is a shift worker.
Nowadays, it's very hard to find a job that's 9 to 5, so to find childcare is extremely difficult.
Gable's daughter was accepted at a rare 24-hour daycare center located about an hour north of Toronto.
Most of our families are first responders or shift work families. It's actually a very big struggle for most families, hence why we have the 800 family wait list.
Ottawa is looking to make it easier to access these kinds of facilities, and it's a key focus of the childcare strategy the federal government and most provinces and territories agreed to today.
We first need to make sure that our system is fully inclusive. That means addressing the needs of those families and those children that have greater challenges.
The framework lists 5 priorities provinces must follow when spending the more than $7 billion Ottawa earmarked to improve childcare over the next 11 years. The money will be used to improve affordability, quality, flexibility, and accessibility for families that do not work traditional hours, and inclusivity, with special efforts to assist Indigenous communities. The goal is to create 40,000 new subsidized spaces with an emphasis on helping kids from low-income families, single parents, and children with disabilities. But some advocates argue universality should also be a priority.
If I could use the example of our public education system, if you're high income, low income, you go to the same school. And we want childcare to be seen in that way.
In our view, the framework agreement is just simply not ambitious enough.
These are the beds that our school agers and our pre-K sleep on.
At the 24-hour facility, the framework is welcome news, though it's unclear if it will get any of the funding. Still, demand is so high, they're about to open a second location.
So now we're just hoping that we can get these families in sooner rather than later.
The minister in charge says he hopes to see significant changes within the childcare system by 2020. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Ottawa.
In the United States, Donald Trump's travel ban hit another legal roadblock today. A second appeals court says his revised executive order is discriminatory. The judges ruled the administration had failed to show that allowing in people from 6 Muslim-majority countries would hurt American interests. The White House has already asked the U.S. Supreme Court to rule on the ban. Well, ahead of that ruling, Trump used today's cabinet meeting to sing his own praises, saying there's never been a president who's accomplished as much as he has 5 months in. Hyperbole, not unusual for this president, but then he invited his cabinet members to chime in too.
What an incredible honor it is to lead the Department of Health and Human Services at this pivotal time under your leadership.
It's an honor to be your steward of our public lands and the generator of energy dominance. I am deeply honored.
Mr. President, thank you for the honor to serve the country. It's a great privilege you've given me.
President, thank you for the opportunity to help fix the trade deficit and other things.
Mr. President, we thank you for the opportunity and the blessing that you've given us to serve your agenda and the American people.
That display was called everything from bizarre to a scene you'd expect to see in North Korea, not Washington. Coming up.
When you tell me illegal immigrant, I think of someone who should be punished.
Inside Donald Trump's version of America. Plus, the remarkable story of baby Ebrar and her rare condition.
It feels like a miracle for us.
The fate of Bill Cosby is now in the hands of a jury. The defense rested its case today without calling the entertainer.
He's testified every day. His deposition was out there. He was truthful.
The jury of 7 men and 5 women heard 6 days of testimony and arguments. Cosby is accused of drugging and molesting a Toronto woman, Andrea Constan, at his Philadelphia home in 2004. He has always maintained the encounter was consensual. Here in Canada, a Quebec woman who says she was sexually abused hundreds of times by a close family member has seen her case put on hold, all because the legal proceedings have dragged on for too long. It's the latest fallout from the Jordan ruling, a controversial decision by the Supreme Court of Canada last year that sets a time limit for a charge to a verdict. Katu McKinnon explains.
6.5 years ago, this young woman reached a breaking point.
Il n'y a pas un soir, je vous dirais que j'ai pas pleuré dans ma chambre. J'écrivais beaucoup, mais on n'oublie pas. Là.
We're calling her Magali because her identity is protected under a publication ban. She alleges her stepfather had been forcing her to have sex with him since she was 14. Her stepfather was arrested, as was her mother, for being complicit. Magali's mother pleaded guilty and served almost 2 years in federal prison.
C'est vraiment une injustice parce que, on va se le dire, oui, ma mère a eu une négligence parentale. Par contre, les attouchements physiques, mentaux, c'est pas ma mère qui les a fait.
The stepfather pleaded not guilty. A trial finally got underway last spring, 5 years after he was charged. Magali testified.
Puis tu sais, de me retrouver devant vous puis vous dire tout ce que j'ai à vous dire, là, c'est humiliant.
This past spring, a judge stayed the charges because the entire process took too long. Magali couldn't believe it.
C'est comme si, ben c'est pas grave qu'il vous a abusé. On s'en fout.
The stay of proceedings was partly blamed on the Crown, but the judge also pointed to the accused who missed several court dates. Sexual assault prevention advocates say these delays take a toll on victims.
You prepare yourself and then there's a delay and then you have to, prepare yourself again in another 6 months, and that really is not very helpful in having a person heal and move forward.
Magali cried herself to sleep as a teenager. She cried more when she found out about the stay and that the Crown was not appealing. Magali has moved on. She has a new family, a job, and a man she loves.
De pas se laisser abattre par ça, tu sais. C'est trop facile, sinon je veux pas lui donner la chance de lui dire que, regarde, hein, je t'ai mis à terre. Non, non, je m'excuse. Moi, je me suis relevée, toi, baisse les yeux. C'est pas à moi de baisser la tête, pas du tout.
She's glad no one else who alleges sexual abuse will have to wait so long for nothing, because she says in her case, justice failed. Katu McKinnon, CBC News, Quebec City.
Orlando, Florida today marked the 1-year anniversary of a deadly mass shooting the worst attack on U.S. soil since 9/11.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song.
Memorial services were held across the city for the 49 victims shot at a gay nightclub. The gunman behind the carnage claimed allegiance to ISIS. He was killed by police in a gunfight. Riot police have arrested hundreds during massive anti-corruption protests across Russia. St. Petersburg and Moscow saw thousands taking to the streets. The demonstrations were seen as a show of defiance against the Kremlin and President Vladimir Putin. Opposition leader Alexei Navalny was arrested on his way to a rally. The prominent Putin critic was sentenced to 30 days in prison for staging an unsanctioned rally. He has been calling for mass protests in a bid to go against Putin in next year's election. And as Moscow deals with internal opposition about 500 kilometers west on Russia's border with Latvia, Canadian troops prepare for their new overseas mission. The deployment to the tiny Baltic nation is part of a NATO operation aimed to deter any potential aggression from its big neighbor. But the reaction from Latvians towards the mission is mixed. Chris Brown explains.
The mission for Canada is to defend Latvia from any aggression by Russia, but the soldiers will mostly be working around their base. 300 kilometers away is the real front line between NATO and Russia, the international border, marked by a high metal fence with razor wire. We walk the line with Latvian Border Patrol guard Zintar Kunskis. If there's a Russian incursion, he says he'll be the first to know, but he adds the arrival of NATO troops has not led to any sign of change here. It is extremely unlikely that Canadian soldiers will ever get to see this border fence or get to see the international boundary markers, the Latvian one here and the Russian one there. NATO says the plan is to keep their soldiers far back from the border. Over the weekend, when the first group of Canadians arrived, their commander reiterated the mission's aim is to avoid antagonizing anyone, especially the Russians.
It's proportional, it's defensive, and it's going to preserve peace within the region.
In Latvia's border region around Velaka, people celebrate their history of fierce resistance to occupiers of the past. This swamp is where hundreds of partisans waged war for years against Nazis and then the Soviets who replaced them. There's now a factory nearby that makes combat gear for Latvia's military. Anita Nikoliava lives just 2 kilometers from that border fence, and she's happy Canada has arrived. Honestly, yes, it scares me, she says, at the prospect of a Russian takeover of her country. We're next to the border and we joke we can go to sleep in Latvia and wake up in Russia. Still, on our border visit, we found little immediate sense of alarm. The local mayor says Russia's takeover of Crimea is obviously worrying, but he believes it's unlikely to be repeated in Latvia, not with the NATO troops here. Russia once dominated Latvia, but in the 25 years since independence, those closest to the border told us they're now used to living next to their giant neighbor, and NATO's arrival will simply give them an added measure of comfort. Chris Brown, CBC News in Velaka, Latvia.
If you have diabetes, you'll want to stick around for our next story. Your blood sugar meter might not be as useful as you think. Stay with us.
The National with Peter Mansbridge.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm Peter Mansbridge, and this is The National. Well, we are a long way from our usual cozy studio tonight. It's about 3,000 kilometers that way. This is the Northwest Passage. We're in a shaft at the old Syndicate coal mines here in Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. These are unusual surroundings for the National. We're about an hour north of Fort McMurray, from Stratford, Ontario, in Delta, British Columbia, from Parliament Hill in Saskatoon, going live off the deck of an icebreaker in Vancouver. From Montreal, once again tonight, a city at the heart of a crisis in the coal. Do you worry about the ice?
Yes, I do, yeah. What's going to happen if it all melts away?
All jolly we miner men, and miner men are we.
They've all worked the coal mines in Cape Breton. Now they sing to preserve the heritage and the folklore of the island's mining communities. Canada is still here tonight, but just barely. Quebecers have voted no to sovereignty. But of course, the story the whole world is watching is the historic switch to the year 2000. This is the day that Winnipeg has been waiting for, worrying about, even dreading. Good evening, I'm Peter Mansbridge from downtown Toronto. For the most part, an eerily dark Toronto. Good evening, I'm Peter Mansbridge, inside Vatican City. Good evening from the Netherlands, Baghdad. In Tiananmen Square tonight from London. In Vimy Ridge, France. From Kandahar, Afghanistan. Here in Berlin, there's another opening in the wall tonight, number 22. When the waves crashed ashore here and they didn't have far to come, there's the beach line. Our ride today is on an Israeli Air Force Black Hawk helicopter. That is the area that the suicide bombers used to get to some of their targets.
Look at those are the papal apartments just over on the other side. That's where the Pope lives.
As night falls, we're back on the road, moving through the streets of Kandahar, and as always, on the lookout. Thanks for watching. Type 2 diabetes is one of the fastest growing diseases in Canada, and it packs a mean punch. The risk of blindness, heart disease, and strokes. But experts now have concerns about how some diabetics are monitoring themselves, specifically around the common finger prick test used to measure blood sugar levels. Health reporter Christine Birak explains.
They need a third the blood of...
Helping diabetes patients monitor the amount of glucose or sugar in their blood sounds great, but even the ads will tell you these strips are meant for insulin users, usually those with type 1 diabetes. But like Margaret de Nobrega, most patients have type 2 diabetes and don't usually use insulin, in which case experts insist self-monitoring doesn't help and can do harm.
And it's 8.1. I don't fully agree. I wouldn't like someone to take my machine away from me.
I think from the study, what we find is that glucose monitoring should not be routine.
This latest study took 450 patients not being treated with insulin and split them into 3 groups: no blood sugar monitoring, once daily monitoring, or enhanced once daily monitoring with an internet-delivered message of encouragement or instruction. 1 year later, experts say there were no significant differences in blood glucose control, emergency room visits, or health-related quality of life.
We know that whether people test or not doesn't have much of an impact on that overall number. What does have an impact is, are you exercising daily or almost daily? Are you managing your portion sizes?
Some patients believe provincial governments are limiting funding for test strips to save money, but doctors say frequent testing can have mental health consequences, leading diabetic patients to rate their overall health as poor, and often worse than it really is.
People who test their sugar regularly give scores that are about on par with people who have had a recent stroke.
De Nobrega says she only tests once in a while now and admits she used to go overboard.
I did maybe obsess a little bit about it because I did not want to go on medication.
Despite these findings, the Diabetes Canada website still recommends self-monitoring of blood glucose, but has added, talk to your doctor about it. Experts say they want diabetes patients to stay engaged with their health and care, but insist that little finger prick may not be the best way to do it. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
Diabetes is among 6 common illnesses which Canada pays more to treat than other countries with universal health care. A new study looked at 10 countries and 6 conditions. When it comes to prescription drug spending on a per capita basis, the difference between the best and worst was nearly 600%. New Zealand pays the least, Switzerland the most. But Canada isn't far behind at $158. The lead author says Canada pays more because treatments lean towards using newer patented drugs rather than older off-patent ones. Up next, the growing backlash against illegal immigrants in the U.S.
We as a society should be able to say who comes into our country and who doesn't.
But wait till you hear the stories of those being forced to leave. First, these business numbers. Here they are. The TSX fell 89 points. The loonie gained 1/5 of a cent. In New York, the Dow dropped 36 points. The price of oil was up 25 cents a barrel. Hello there on Facebook Live. Got your questions for the next 4 minutes or so, and I'll get to them right away after plugging at issue this Thursday. Any questions you might have on your mind, send them to us the same way on your comment section on Facebook. We're getting the gang together on Thursday. Just only a couple of shows left for me with that issue before the end of the month when I'm sailing off into the sunset. So if you have some questions, we'd love to have your questions for Andrew and Chantal, and I think Althea Raj is joining us this week. Okay, questions for tonight's commercial fill here. Dan Booker asks, what did you have for dinner? Well, thank you, Dan. That's a penetrating question. I'm glad you got to that. Would you believe a hot dog? I actually did have a hot dog tonight. I know, it's bad, but it was good, and I didn't have any fries. Bonnie Bonser Noseworthy. Peter, what's your favorite musician? I guess that's who's your favorite musician, Bonnie. I love the hip. I love Lightfoot. I love this guy back here. That's Al Wiley. He's our floor director. He's getting things organized for the next block, the next segment. Look, I like a lot of musicians, but I'd certainly put those two at the top. Wendy Lynette asks, are you getting excited about retiring at the end of the month? Yes. I have a variety of emotions around that, but I am excited and looking forward to the future, both for myself and also for this program, as it will move into a new era, not only with who you'll see in front of the cameras, but the kind of way, the shape we're looking at for the program itself. Al's getting things organized, as I said, for the next block. That's why you're seeing pictures like this. It'll be part of the intro. Diane Martin, when will your replacement be announced? Soon. Be patient. And, you know, it's wide open. As I think I've said before, it could be a replacement. It could be replacements. So you'll have to wait and see. What were you doing at McMaster University today in Hamilton? You're right, I was there. I received an honorary doctorate of law. That's what I'll be doing after I retire, hanging the shingle out. And my wife, Cynthia Dale, also received an honorary doctorate of laws today as well. Alistair Tavares asks, hey, you related to John? You have to answer that. Is the Toronto and Vancouver housing market expected to crash? I hope not. People expect a correction. Crash is a strong term. Crash, like crash. I'm not sure anybody's expecting a crash. A correction, which would involve losses, I think is certainly being discussed.
1 minute, Peter.
1 minute, and I've got to go over there, right? Yeah. Mo Abbas asks, is a hot dog a sandwich? Well, Mo, you're plugged into the day's story. Sure, as much as a hamburger's a sandwich, I guess a hot dog's a sandwich. Jonathan Cullen asks, how has your industry changed over the years? Jonathan, that's a great question. I've only got like 20 seconds to answer it. It's changed a lot because of technology, because of the number of different news organizations in the business and their different kind of philosophies about news. But at the heart of any great news organization is the ability to tell stories well. And we pride ourselves in that here at the CBC. I've got to head over here to 20 seconds. Let's see, is there a 20-second one here? What's your favorite childhood Halloween costume? Molly Pendergast, the Lone Ranger. That was me. We got to go. 4 seconds, we're back with the next block.
Jose is an American. He just doesn't have the paperwork that says he's an American.
Well, that's an all too familiar story. About 11 million residents of the United States are undocumented immigrants who entered the country illegally, and many of them are living in fear. Donald Trump and his supporters want illegals kicked out, regardless of their contributions to society, a rebuke of the very notion on which the U.S. was founded. So we wanted to see firsthand what that new reality, the new America, is really like. Nick Purdon has our story from Texas.
We, as a society, should be able to say who comes into our country and who doesn't.
It was really quick. Within a week and a half, they deported him. And I threw myself on the floor and I was just crying, screaming.
Even though Trump is saying we're deporting bad hombres, well, sadly, they're deporting good hombres too.
Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. If America has a slogan, it would be that from the Statue of Liberty. But you don't need me to tell you that Donald Trump got elected, in part, on a platform of deporting some of the very people who came to the country under that banner. So I'm in Houston, Texas, where there are 500,000 undocumented immigrants. And I've come here to ask if what the Statue of Liberty stands for still applies.
We're gonna call Daddy in a little bit, okay?
First, I want you to meet the Escobars, Rose, Walter, and little Carmen. But really it's the person who's not here that I'm going to tell you about. Jose Escobar, the children's father and Rose's husband, lived in Houston for 17 years. And every year, because he was undocumented, in order to stay in the country, he reported into immigration. Jose'd answer a few questions, and they'd let him go. This past February, when Rose went with him to his appointment, she was told he was being detained.
Well, I ran in, and he was surrounded by 5 guys. I'm like, honey, what's going on? He goes, I'm so sorry, Rose. And then Carmen was reaching out for Jose. And Jose was like, Rose, just please leave because I don't want Carmen to see me like this. And he's crying. I'm like, Jose, look, don't sign anything. He just hugged me, and I hugged him, and I said, please be strong. He goes, you be strong for the kids. And I said, I will, Jose, but just...
Hey, are you ready? Let's go! Tiptoe to Panda!
A week later, Jose Escobar was deported to El Salvador, where he's living with his grandmother. Jose hadn't stepped foot in the country since he was a kid.
As long as we were together, we were okay. But now, he's far, far away.
Swim to 10.
You want to bring me your tablet, Walter, so we can call Daddy?
Rose was born in the U.S., and so were her kids. She puts a brave face on the situation, even though now she's the only breadwinner.
Papi? Yeah, we're not trying to call Papi. No, there we go. See, now we can see Papi.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, Carmen. Say besito, Papi. Besito.
After school, they call Jose, thousands of kilometers away.
Walter. What?
Come here, I'll show you. Let me show you a trick.
And he still tries to help Walter with his homework.
Okay, how's the trick? Come in your blocking.
Uh-oh.
What just happened?
Whoa, hello?
Can you see us?
Hello?
Can you see us?
Soon after Jose was deported, Rose told Walter what happened. Her childlike explanation, with the politics stripped away, might be something we could all learn from. The simple story of a boy crossing into the U.S. for a better life.
Daddy came into the United States when he was a little boy, And he didn't ask for permission. And he goes, so is daddy a bad man? I'm like, no, because you know how you do things, but you don't know any better because you're a little boy? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, same thing with daddy. He was a little boy. Now that he's a man, he's trying to do the right thing.
And that means not sneaking back across the border. Rose tells me that Jose could be back tomorrow, illegally. But this time when he returns, they want it to be for good.
What?
Say 100 in Spanish.
25. 25, no. 100.
No.
100.
100. Yeah. It's okay, I'll teach you.
We'll teach
That sentence, "It's okay, I'll teach you," hangs there in the Escobar living room. It'll likely be 5 years before Jose can return legally.
When he was deported, what kind of things went through your mind?
The first thing that came to mind is the president is changing everything now.
Oh, I'm sure. I'll figure it out. I know how to do all that.
Thank you.
Okay, so here's the next thing I want you to have a look at. There's the Texas flag on the wall, and the people on the phones? In Houston, they helped get Trump elected. Meet Cooper Jackson. He works at a car wash factory in Houston, and he tells me when the wall is built, he wants to work there.
I'm the silent majority. I'm the person who's been waiting for someone to get into politics and make the impact that he's made. Trump is 10 steps ahead of everyone.
If you could say something to Donald Trump, what would you say to him?
I love you. I love you and thank you very much. I don't regret voting for you. Are you planning on voting in this upcoming election for Pasadena ISD?
Cooper might be in love, but he's certainly not complacent.
That's excellent, sir.
He works the phones a couple of times a week trying to engage with voters.
Well, you could always switch, ma'am, if you decide. I hope you have a great day. Goodbye. See, yeah, man, I definitely see the value in doing this.
He's one of the people who's changing America.
We have a Trump group that wants to go protest the socialists and go wherever they go and protest them. And I feel like this is better than doing that. Hello?
How do you see yourself when you're here making phone calls? How do you think of yourself?
I think of myself as a happy soldier. I think of myself as someone who wants to make a difference is in the right place.
What's the soldier part?
Once you decide that you want to be a soldier for America and you join, you're basically going to be fighting in whatever war they decide to get into while you're a soldier. So that's why I say I'm a happy soldier. I'm already enlisted in the Republican Party. I just got to do my part to fight the fight.
If I say illegal immigrant, what do you think about? What's the first thing that pops into your head?
When you tell me illegal immigrant, I think of someone who should be punished. I think of someone who broke the law. I've broken the law before. I've been punished for it. We as a society should be able to say who comes into our country and who doesn't. We as a country should be able to say, I'm sorry, we don't want your beggars and your criminals. We want your doctors, and we want the people that are going to benefit, but they're also going to give back to our society.
That's not exactly, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Here's the next situation I want you to see. This is what uncertainty looks like. All over Houston, all over America, in fact. If you're an immigrant, you're hiring a lawyer.
You want to do this in English or Spanish?
Raed Gonzalez tells me he's never been busier.
You tell me. Español o inglés?
What do you see in your lobby?
A lot of scared people, individuals that are here legally in the country that have nothing to worry about, are afraid that they're going to take away, for example, the legal permanent residency in the country because nobody knows what Trump is going to do. Every time he goes on TV, he continues to say, I'm deporting criminals and traffickers and this and that. But what we're seeing down here is anybody that may have had any type of problem with the law.
And the official statistics bear that out. Immigration arrests are up almost 40% across the United States to nearly 400 a day. But Raed believes just because something's legal doesn't make it fair.
They just don't get it.
Besides, he says, the 11 million undocumented people in the United States have accomplices.
American gave them the jobs I'm an American. I'm at fault too. We give them the jobs to come here. And they have stayed here all these years because the government was not able to take them all out or deport them. They bought houses and we sold it to them. We let them get loans for cars. We educated their children. A lot of them are U.S. citizens born here. They have all these ties, and now we're going to tell all these people you need to go? I mean, come on. It's unrealistic. It really is.
Before Trump, if you were undocumented, you were almost American. You could work, raise a family. After all, there are 6 million children, most of them U.S. citizens, whose parents don't have papers. Now those families are looking over their shoulders. What exactly does that look like? Meet the Rodriguez family. Juan Francisco left El Salvador and slipped into the United States without papers. That's the only crime he's ever committed. Now at 47, he works as a mechanic. Juan Francisco shows me the document that proves for the last 11 years he's been checking in with immigration. His final meeting was in February.
Y los agentes me dijeron de que ya no era prioridad para el nuevo gobierno de estar aquí, no más. Me dijo que me iba a detener. Pues le dije yo, estoy en tus manos, no puedo hacer más. Tú tienes la última palabra. Si me vas a deportar, ¿hasta qué punto es posible que me des hacerte una petición? Y me dijo que cuál era. Le dije yo que mi hija se graduaba este año y que si me daba la oportunidad de estar ese día.
Immigration officials granted Juan Francisco his wish. He'll be at Karen's graduation. But after that, he was told he'd be deported.
I don't want my graduation to get here because once graduation comes, then his time gets closer to leave. And it's more of trying to live every day to the fullest because you never know, you come home and maybe he's not there. And at first I would go to school and I'd be really, really scared. And I didn't want to go to school because I didn't want to think that I would go and I wouldn't see him and I wouldn't be able to hug him in case something happened. And you try to live each day, but sometimes it's hard because the sadness comes in and you know he's not going to be here for a while. And yes, I'll have him for graduation, but what about our birthdays and Christmas and Thanksgiving? What am I going to be thankful for this year if they're taking a big part of me?
Consider this. 10-year-old Kimberly, she was born in Houston. Rebecca and Karen, they're U.S. citizens too. Celia, their mom, she's an American as well. Just not Juan Francisco. So maybe the question to think about is this. Are the Rodriguezes an American family?
Are you aware that some of the deportations are hurting families, hurting U.S. citizens?
Whenever I see these stories highlighted of people getting ripped away from their families in the middle of the streets and everyone's pissed off, if you get here illegally and you establish as quick as you can and have as many kids as you can, that means that we're going to have to keep you here. I think that is what draws more people here. The same should go for everybody. If it's on the books as a law, you get found, you're illegal, you get deported. Y'all may be looking at me like I'm some cruel bastard for saying that, but it's law and order.
It sounds simple until you meet the people. Jose Escobar, he slipped across the border when he was just 14 years old. He came to join his mom. And in all the years he lived in the U.S., that's been his only crime. It's certainly legal to deport him. Is it right?
What if Jose doesn't get back here?
Oh, that's not an option for me. He's coming back. The what ifs, a lot of people are telling me, what if he doesn't come back? Would you go back? Would you go? And I'm like, no. I'm here to stay. My kids are here to stay. This is my home. Jose is an American. He just doesn't have the paperwork that says he's an American, but he is an American. And where he is right now in El Salvador is not where he belongs.
Nick Purdon, CBC News, Houston, Texas.
Well, tomorrow we take you to California, which could become the first sanctuary state in the U.S. for undocumented immigrants. There are as many as 3 million undocumented immigrants in California, and lawmakers there are trying to protect them with a bill that would stop local and state police from helping with federal immigration enforcement. But there is pushback.
You don't let people invade your country.
It's no more law-abiding country. It's whoever wants what for free gets it.
The view from California's last big Republican stronghold, Kern County, tomorrow on The National. Up next, the story of a Syrian refugee and her baby's rare birth defect that Canadian doctors are trying to correct.
Just an hour after the New York attack, planes started arriving in Gander. While local officials figured out what to do, passengers waited on board in 30-degree heat. It was dusk before the first passengers were processed and given a place to sleep. They knew little of the day's events.
The crew didn't really tell us much.
Well, of course, we didn't really know what was going on.
They quickly found out.
There's the plane, you can't miss that.
Incredible.
All night, plane by plane, the passengers were allowed to disembark. But there was little anger with their own plight.
I think we were just happy to be on the ground at that point, given what we had heard.
Every school, church halls, and basements made into makeshift shelters. 750 at this Gander school, many not knowing even where they were.
Now a lot of European people know Gander. Never heard before, but now they know.
They know of it now.
Absolutely.
Daybreak brought the reality of the task for Gander and all the surrounding communities that chipped in to help. Where's this load of stuff going?
Old Glenwood, school in Glenwood.
At the Salvation Army, a desperate call for help was answered by local residents. The biggest need for food, towels, and bedding.
Getting lots of volunteers, lots of donations, blankets, towels, food, and there's still a lot more to do, so we're pushing on.
All of what's happening is being appreciated by the unexpected tourist.
We're very grateful, and I would hope that Americans would treat Canadians with the same kindness.
The people in this town should be blessed forever.
This morning, it's breakfast for 300.
Hopefully we'll get them all fed within a reasonable time.
How long have you been here helping out?
Oh, we came here yesterday morning and we worked till 9, 10 o'clock last night, and we came back again 7 o'clock this morning.
Most of the food donated, cooked in a school home economics classroom. None of this extraordinary hospitality lost on the visitors.
But everybody in the whole town is pulled together, and we're chuffed to bits, so we're really all proud.
They're absolutely great. You are really lovely people. I just hope we could do the same if it ever happened in our country.
Joe Dunn is giving back, serving breakfast to the town that fed and housed him for 5 days when his plane was forced to land in Gander on September 11th. Today, he was joined by a dozen other U.S. passengers who've returned on this day.
I can only equate it to like a love from a grandmother. That's really what it felt like. The matrons in town, it was their caring was just, it was unbelievable. It was a great example of the human spirit.
That caring has turned into friendship. Dunn continues to stay in touch and reunite with the woman who gave him shelter. Stella Brazil welcomed other passengers into her home on 9/11. She's just one of hundreds of local people that did the same.
I think it's just our nature to be that way, and nobody looked at it as being any type of a big sacrifice.
The U.S. ambassador came to Newfoundland to say thank you and remember this day in a way most other Americans aren't.
On the one hand, it's a very sad, tragic event that we're here to commemorate. But on the other hand, you see the spirit of these people and the spirit of the kids, and it makes you feel good.
A Syrian refugee who was told her Canadian-born baby might not survive is breathing a sigh of relief for now. The 5-month-old girl is recovering from a difficult brain surgery to correct a rare birth defect. It was successful, but she's not free and clear just yet. Nellie Gonzalez has their story. And we note that we are not identifying the woman and her husband because they fear for their family's safety in Syria. And a warning, some of the images may well be unsettling.
Every couple of hours, Safa mixes formula to feed her 5-month-old daughter. But unlike most babies, Ebrar gets fed through tubes in her nose.
It's really hard. It's something out of my control.
Ebrar was born last December with encephalocele, a rare birth defect that has caused her brain to grow outside of her skull. Through a translator, Safa says doctors told her the baby would not survive.
Well, at the beginning, the doctor said there is no way to go for a surgery because of the baby's condition.
Over the months, Ebrar's brain had grown to nearly the size of her skull and was weighing her head down. She needed surgery, but her parents were warned her odds of surviving were 50-50. They took the chance in hopes of giving their baby girl a healthy, normal life.
I love her too much. God gave me this gift and I accept it as it is.
After weeks of CAT scans, MRIs, and appointments with neurosurgeons, Ebrar finally had surgery at Winnipeg's Children's Hospital last Tuesday. It was a marathon, 9-hour surgery. Surrounded by friends at the hospital, Safa's translator says she was thrilled to hear her baby had survived.
Thanks God, the doctor was really very good and he helped a lot, and it feels like a miracle for us.
Doctors were able to drain the fluids surrounding her brain and put it inside her skull. But they can't say yet if Ebrar will make a full recovery.
So far, they don't know. She's under observation because she just had the surgery.
Medical experts in the U.S. say this type of surgery can be complex, and it's hard to predict whether babies like Ebrar can lead a normal life after surgery.
Seizures can be fairly common in encephalocele because if the brain hasn't developed normal anatomically, the electrical signals going through the brain may not be normal.
Safa said she understands there could be more challenges ahead, but she says at least now she has hope. Nellie Gonzalez, CBC News, Winnipeg.
So how rare is encephalocele? It occurs in about 1 out of every 10,000 live births in North America. Up next, Wendy Mesley's interview with the Canadian couple behind the Tony Award-winning musical Come From Away.
I'm Anna Maria Tremonti. Tomorrow on The Current, women in Saudi Arabia are not allowed to drive a car. So when Manal al-Sharif did exactly that and was arrested, she was speaking out for women's rights. Her story on The Current, weekdays at 8:30 on CBC Radio 1.
Tomorrow, Coca-Cola Company will tell a thirsty world it's putting a smoother, sweeter taste into the most instantly recognizable bottle in the world.
This has got to be the boldest consumer products move of any kind, of any stripe, since Eve started to hand out apples.
Here they drag out all the hoopla, thinking that they're going to war against the arch-rival Pepsi. But it turns out they've picked a fight in their own backyard with their best friends.
I can't tell the difference between the new taste of Coke and the old taste of Pepsi.
Why are you upset about it?
My oldest daughter is 22. Her first word was Coke. Her second word was Mommy.
For decades, Coke has stayed on top by being cautious and conservative. Lately, though, Pepsi is growing faster than Coke. The Pepsi challenge is clearly hurting.
We made our choice, make it in Pepsi.
Pepsi has captured a young, hip positioning that Coke, by nature of its corporate culture, is not really able to understand yet.
I put a Pepsi in the bowl, but that's short stuff to you. Hey.
It must be every young boy's fantasy to turn around and see Michael Jackson. I mean, how wonderful.
The Coca-Cola Company is bringing back the real thing. For weeks, the company has been hyping the taste of its new formula Coke. But today it announced it's going to start selling the old Coke again under a new name.
We're bringing it back. The original taste of Coca-Cola returns as Coca-Cola Classic.
We have booster ignition and liftoff.
When the shuttle Challenger blasts off tomorrow, it will begin a new space race. On board will be 2 specially designed soft drink cans, one from Coke, the other from Pepsi, allowing astronauts to drink a carbonated beverage in the weightlessness of space for the first time.
It's the Cola Wars in action.
The supermarket shelf is the front line in the Cola War. Pepsi and Coke slugging it out in the world's longest-running business battle.
The National. The National.
Tonight.
I got to try on a costume myself. We were dancing for quite a while. These red silk pants, big pants. You wouldn't wear them at work time or school time, but hammer time?
Johnny Harris returns with Still Standing. The new season begins Tuesday, June 27th on CBC.
And I guess most of all, I'd like to accept this on behalf of the people of Newfoundland and all of the first responders and their families in New York and in 9/11, the people who gave their lives and the people who extended their hearts and their homes and were generous and kind at the very worst moments. To all of you.
Well, that was Christopher Ashley winning a Tony last night for Best Director of a Musical. Come From Away tells the story of the generosity shown by residents of Gander, Newfoundland, to thousands of air travelers stranded after the 9/11 attacks. Wendy Mesley spoke to the show's creators about their big hit.
For so long, people in the arts and television and movies and so on were really careful. There's almost a taboo about telling 9/11 stories. But through Gander, through this story, it's like why is it different?
Well, we didn't set out to tell a 9/11 story. I mean, we fell in love with Newfoundland. We wanted to tell the story not about what happened here in New York, but about how they responded, about how these people responded to a tragedy, and how we can all respond to a tragedy through kindness. So we call it a 9/12 story. This is how they responded, but also the show can be in response to any tragedy to some degree. If people were grounded somewhere, and that's what I hope the show does, is that we don't have to wait for a tragedy to bring out this kindness.
And there comes a time when I think through art you can sort of look back and examine and feel both sides, both the pain and the suffering, and the joy that the human spirit just tries to, I think as a species that's what we do, or we won't survive.
Well, it is quite the story in this age where you've got walls going up and you've got the president talking about banning immigrants, and then you've got Newfoundland welcoming them. So it's a particular message in a particular time.
We had this amazing experience out in Washington, D.C. of having this bipartisan audience from both sides of the aisle coming together to celebrate this story about human kindness and about coming together. And it feels like time and again we've seen that people want this, people want to bridge these differences regardless of race or religion or where you're from. People are looking for that, and regardless of politics, it feels like the story is good to tell right now. It's been good for us.
So our Prime Minister and Donald Trump's daughter went to see your show. What was that like? Did you get a phone call saying they want to, how did that go down?
We did get a phone call telling us that it was going to happen, and there's a whole preparation of the theater, and he was so lovely afterwards. He thanked the stage management crew and the crew for
letting them invade, really, for disrupting what the usual rhythm is.
Yeah. And we found out right before the show, we said, so they're coming, and they said, yes, and your job is to introduce him to the entire band, the entire crew, all of the Newfoundlanders, all of the Come From Aways who were here that night, and we were like, oh, we're going to hang out with them on stage. Okay. And it was amazing. I mean, what was amazing about it was that night and opening night, we had the people who had inspired the characters, and we brought them out on stage. And to see the Prime Minister of Canada speak to each one of them and talk to them about their experience. I mean, all of the Newfoundlanders will say, it's what they did was just ordinary. It's just what anyone would have done. But to have it recognized by the head of your country and to have it recognized by this New York audience, giving them a standing ovation and cheering for them, it's really wonderful to see them, realize that it's extraordinary. It's really amazing what they did.
It sure was. Well, that's The National this Monday night. For news at any hour, you can always go to our website, cbcnews.ca. I'm Peter Mansbridge. Thanks for watching.